Well, yesterday I shoveled quite a bit of snow in 13-degree weather, so I'm not sure how well my voice is doing today, but I'm going to try to do a report on Groff Conklin. A lot of people consider him to be the most important SF anthologist, and he certainly was one of the best SF anthologists of all time. Edward Groff Conklin, September 6, 1904 to July 19, 1968. He wasn't an American science fiction anthologist. He edited 40 or 41, depending on source and definition of SF, anthologies of science fiction, one of mystery stories that he co-edited with physician Noah Fabricant. I have great science fiction about doctors with Fabricant right here. And he apparently wrote some books on home improvement and was a freelance writer on science subjects. And I was not aware of this, but he published some poetry apparently. So from 1950 to 1955, he criticized science fiction books, I would say more reviewed science fiction books for Galaxy Science Fiction. Now, a guy named Bud Webster, and I do not have this book, wrote 41 above the rest, an index and checklist for the Anthologies of Groff Conklin. Apparently, Barry Malzberg liked Webster's work quite a bit, and this is a quote from Barry Malzberg. Groff Conklin was the most important science fiction anthologist through the years of the genre's true second generation, that point at which its previously magazine-bound masterpieces were being systematically located, aligned, and placed into permanent format. His contribution over the period of 2 decades was irreplaceable, and all of our post-war history exists in the penumbra of his work. Bud Webster has in this index granted an act of scholarship and homage of equal irreplaceability. Well, that is very scholarly and academic language there by Barry. And of course, Barry went on to do a lot of great reviews and introductions to many books throughout the 70s, and I really liked all of his work there. So I'm just going to show my books in no particular order. I only have 13 of Groff's anthologies, but they are my favorite anthologies. Of course, Adventures in Time and Space, and there are other great anthologies and anthologists that came after, but for the period of time where Conklin was alive, it was Conklin. So this is great science fiction about doctors, 18 tales of the outermost worlds of medicine. Groff Conklin and Noah Fabricant. I'm not showing these in any particular order until the end. This one is a Collier Books, and we'll come up with the published originally 1963. This one is the 5th printing, 1970, and in here are many of the major names of science fiction of the Golden Age. I'm not going to point out all the stories, of course, in each of these books. We would be here the rest of our lives. Here we have Nathaniel Hawthorne, Miles J. Brewer, we would recognize that name, C.M. Kornbluth, Murray Leinster, Alan E. Norse, M.D., Arthur Porges, who has a great story in here. So we're going to move on quickly. All the introductions by Groff in all these anthologies is really well worth your time to read. And I purchased most of these paperbacks between about 1968 and 1978. This is Groff's Possible Worlds of Science Fiction. I even remember buying this one. Let's see, copyright. This is the 5th printing, 1968. And I would have been about 14 when I bought this one. And of course, I got caught reading it at school. And this one does not have a table of contents. So to actually see what's in the book, we have to look here at where the stories came from. Paul Anderson, The Helping Hand. Asimov, Not Final. John Berryman, Space Rating, which is actually pretty good. Ray Bradbury, Asleep in Armageddon. H.B. Fife, In Value Deceived. Malcolm Jameson, Lilies of Life, which is a great story. We have Murray Leinster, Propagandist, another great story. The Pillows, Margaret St. Clair. Clifford Simak, or Simak is how I hear it's pronounced now. Limiting Factor, A.E. Van Vogt, Enchanted Village. Another incredible anthology produced by Groff Conklin. Here we have a shortened version paperback edition of A Treasury of Science Fiction, edited by Groff Conklin, of course. Let's see when this one was published. The original publication was 1948. This edition, January 1965. And again, just incredibly great stories by great science fiction authors here. I'll try to leave this up long enough that everyone can take a look and see what's in this one. And just another incredible anthology by Groff Conklin. Here we have Minds Unleashed. Great science fiction stories by Asimov, Anderson, etc. Lots of stuff there. And I remember buying this one too. I think it was around 1970 that I purchased it. Well, it was originally published in 1965. This Tempo edition, 1970. And again, just incredible science fiction here. It's a little later in science fiction. And I can't remember if there's a second page or not. Nope, there is not. And a lot of great stuff here as well. And we'll continue to move on so I'm not wasting everybody's time. Seven Come Infinity. A Fawcett gold medal science fiction classic. I'm not sure how many he published through them. And we have a preface here. This is copyright 1968. Most of these do not have any reference to the cover art. I noticed that when I was looking through them earlier. So I'm not really finding that on these. And this one may not have a table of contents as well. Nope. So here we are. We can see the stories as they were first copyrighted. And these are not as familiar to me. I haven't reread this one as much as most of my other anthologies by Groff. So that's this one. Next we have another one that I bought a little later, but I remember buying this in high school. Groff Conklin, Elsewhere and Elsewhen. And I like this one a lot. And it appears to be a Bantam book. Berkeley book. Berkeley Medallion book published by Berkeley. Copyright 1968, Groff Conklin. Now this edition is from May 1968, so I probably bought it in 68, 69, 1970. I remember picking this book up in a bookstore over at the local mall. And Short Stack is a great science fiction story. I really like that. Mark Clifton's How Allied is great. Cornwainer Smith, Think Blue, Count 2. Well, what can you say? James H. Schmitz, Donald Westlake. Another great anthology. And this one I seem to have bought possibly a little older than high school. I can't remember exactly. Science Fiction Terror Tales. 15 blood-tingling stories by Isaac Asimov and others. Here we do have a table of contents. Frederick Brown, Ray Bradbury, Robert Sheckley, Richard Matheson, Theodore Sturgeon, Margaret St. Clair, Isaac Asimov, Alan E. Norse, Murray Leinster, Philip K. Dick, Robert Heinlein, Chad Oliver. Now, this is an incredibly great collection or anthology here of stories. Just amazingly great. I liked Prot by Margaret as well. This one is really good. And here we have Groff's Another Part of the Galaxy. 6 Far-Out Voyages to Distant Worlds. Edited by Groff Conklin. And this one is a Fawcett book as well. And, I forgot that this was in here. We unconditionally guarantee each of the far-out worlds in this book to be among the most ingenious and provocative ever created by the human imagination. We further guarantee that a visit to any one of them will reward you with a universe of reading pleasure, and that a visit to all will multiply your pleasure by a factor of infinity. We naturally cannot guarantee that you will ever want to come down to Earth again after your visit. So I don't know who wrote that, but very fun stuff. And this one was copyright 1966. And we have here a table of contents. And quite a few well-known names in this one as well. And I really enjoyed reading this too. We'll take this on out of here. Then we have 12 great classics of science fiction. A Dreamer's Dozen of Undiscovered Gems by Robert Sheckley. Frederick Brown, Cordwainer Smith, Paul Anderson, A. Bertram Chandler. We've got Algis Budrys in here. And we have a table of contents right off the bat. Now, most of these are actually pretty well known. Maybe they weren't at the time. Pretty well anthologized in other places as well. But this was probably the first. This one is copyright 1963. And This appears to be an actual 1963 edition. So again, no mention of any artist in this book, at least that I can find. Well, we're going to move on to my stack of favorite Groff Conklin anthologies. Now, this is my original copy of the Science Fiction Galaxy. And as you can see, it got well used. It was very heavily used by me, no doubt about it. I picked up this copy, 3 or 4 years ago. This is a permabook. It is a hardbound edition. And I believe this book is from 1950. And it's still in this shape. And here, Groff lays the foundations of science fiction with a lot of older works. Permabook, copyright 1950. Here are the copyrights and acknowledgments. And we have an introduction. And he breaks this one down. Worlds of Tomorrow, E.M. Forster, The Machine Stops. Rudyard Kipling, Easy as ABC. Wonders of the Earth, William Hope Hodgson, The Derelict. This is the first time I ever saw William Hope Hodgson. Arthur C. Clarke, John D. MacDonald, Margaret St. Clair, Murray Leinster, Miles J. Brewer, M.D. From Outer Space, A. Raleigh Hilliard, Death from the Stars, Theodore Sturgeon, Hercule. Ray Bradbury, King of the Gray Spaces. So he kind of gives you a little history lesson in this one. Just a fantastic resource. We're going to move on to my copy of, let's see, we're going to have this, The Omnibus of Science Fiction, Groff Conklin. Unfortunately, I have lost the dust cover. This is a great science fiction anthology. It's an older one. My copy is from Bonanza in 1980. And here are all the acknowledgments for the stories. Just a tremendous amount of fantastic science fiction in this hardbound. And this is the Bonanza 1980 edition. And Groff has another great foreword here. This is R. Scott Latham. But here's Groff's introduction. So he discusses some of the anthologies that he's doing in this one. Great stuff. New York, October 1952, he wrote this introduction. Now, again, we have a breakdown by topic. The Wonders of Earth and Man. Hopefully you guys will be able to read all these authors and titles. Hyperpelocity, Hellspring to Camp. Great stuff. And here we have The Box by James Blish. Really fantastic science fiction. The Color Out of Space, H.P. Lovecraft. The Headhunters. I don't know why this is not anthologized more. Ralph Williams' pen name was Robert Moore Williams, as I recall. Catch That Martian, Damon Knight. We have so much in here. Alexander the Bait, William 10. Kaleidoscope by Ray Bradbury. Trigger Tide. We have more on the next page. Leinster, Vance, Eric Frank Russell, Alan E. Norse, A.E. Van Vogt, Raymond F. Jones, Louis Paget, H.B. Fife, Frederick Brown, Jack London, Arthur C. Clarke, Lester Del Rey. I would put this one on par or just below Adventures in Time and Space. Now, this is actually my favorite anthology by Groff Conklin. When he says great stories of space travel here, he is not kidding. My first edition wore out that I had, which was actually the original publication here. I bought this one, and I've worn it out as well. And he breaks it down by the solar system and beyond the solar system. There's not a story in here that is not fantastic. And that's all there is to it. So again, I have just about worn out this second one. And I think this one is from 1960, the original copyright, 1963. I am pretty certain this is like a third or fourth printing, but I'm not finding any indication of that here. But this is not the original book that I had. Now, what I did find on Amazon is a reprint of Great Stories of Space Travel, edited by Groff Conklin. And this is a decent copy of it. I mean, there's no two ways about it. This is decent, and we have the introduction. Everything is in here. The only problem is their copy, however they scanned this in to copy it. And this is The Wings of Night. This is a great story, which I have quoted several times over the last year and a half. And what happens is, in this copy, just every now and then you'll see something like this, where the next sentence in the original publication is actually on another line, but they will put it on the same line. It doesn't happen much. It's just a few times throughout each story, but that does have a slight impact on the story because you don't have the pause between one character speaking and then generally you go to the next line to see what the response is, and sometimes that's a little disconcerting. And they do have everything that was in the original. This one is still available on Amazon, made in the USA, September 19th, 2023. So if you don't pick up any other Groff Conklins, I would really recommend this one. Now, the last one is Treasury of Science Fiction. Again, I would place this one just below or equal to Adventures in Time and Space. And I would like to point out some things in this book that are not apparent if you haven't read it, obviously. I'm not going to try to decode that right now, but I believe this was originally published in 1947, or maybe 46. But this is the Bonanza 1980 edition. And in here, he breaks it down by different topics again. The Adam and After. The Wonders of Earth, The Super Science of Man, Dangerous Inventions, Adventures in Dimension, From Outer Space, Far Traveling. Now, the book you hold in your hand is a classic. It is one of the very first anthologies of science fiction ever published. The 30 stories presented here were originally published in science fiction magazines. The earliest dates from 1929, the most recent from 1947. The bulk were written in the 40s. During this period, science fiction was undergoing upheavals that would change the style and subject matter of the genre and would greatly increase in popularity. So they talk about John W. Campbell here. And what I'm going to point out is the first 5 stories in this book all came from Astounding magazine, and they all concern atomic war. And all the topics covered in the 50s on atomic war, mutants, two-headed children, destruction on mass scale, accidental destruction, virtually every topic covered by science fiction in the 50s and 60s regarding the atom bomb is already covered right here. Now, it's in short stories, but that is pretty amazing. And let's see. Those stories were published in 1946, 1947, 1947, 1946, and 1946. So Campbell was already discussing all this apocalyptic stuff in Astounding, very early on. And he cajoled his authors into writing some pretty serious stuff here. So this is what I have of Groff Conklin. It's very difficult to find Groff Conklin paperback anthologies now in any kind of condition. If you can, that is really something to invest in. Well, that's all I have for today, and hope everyone is having a good day.